You know, it's crazy to see this evolution of the quote unquote alpha male, this community that just birthed really out of nowhere. Like, and I understand why it exists. I understand why there are these men's podcasts. There, even I'm in like more of the self improvement space. But I remember when I was just starting to understand a bit more about quote unquote masculinity, and like this topic was very popular. I would go on YouTube and I would look up these different, and to name some names, right? You have obviously Andrew Tate is out there. He's the one that kind of like birthed this movement that you see of like men looking to be more quote unquote masculine and alpha male this, men should be doing this, men should be doing that. And it was just interesting to me to watch this term alpha male be thrown around almost like the badge of a game. Like when you get to level 99, you become like this person, or like, oh, this is the final boss. Like this title that like men would almost self-prescribe themselves. Like you would see these men who were extremely just like dorks, to say the least. And there's no offense to any of these people out here that are pushing this alpha male narrative. But I want to get to the root of like why this exists and why this kind of is becoming more of a problem than the solution. Because what I'm seeing now is it's almost like the idea that everybody can get rich. Like every single person should be a billionaire, or everyone has the ability to be a billionaire. And that's incorrect. Like in life, there are hierarchies for a reason. There needs to be hierarchies because that's just how the nature of life exists. Nothing is ever completely equal, right? So when I look at these alpha male influencers that are trying to help men become alpha males, and you really look at them and you're like, okay, well, it seems like you put a bandage on a solution that was deeper than the surface, and now you're trying to help people put bandages on solutions or on problems that were deeper than the surface, right? Like you look at someone like even Drake, you look at a lot of these like big artists that are big time, they're still getting finessed by women, they're still like, they still have like behavior that isn't necessarily like of their stature of where they're at. They're still petty. They still have these different things. You even see it with these alpha male influencers. Like they have these behaviors, these lash outs that they go through, where you're just like, bro, like, didn't you say you were a quote unquote alpha male and this is what men were supposed to do? And now you're lashing out. Like that doesn't make sense. And so for me, I started to really analyze this because I'm very analytical when I think about, different trends and why they exist. And I saw myself falling into that category a little bit when I was younger than where I am now. I probably was like 24 when I was really diving into it. So about 3 years ago, like I started realizing that, okay, I don't really resonate with a lot of these issues that these quote unquote beta males have, right? Or these incels, where it's like, women don't talk to you, like, women aren't this, or like, oh, you don't get respect from people. Like, I've never had these issues. And I always wondered, I'm like, okay, am I just lucky, or like, what is it? And I'm sure you're watching this right now. Like, you probably don't have some of the issues that they're saying with women. Like, women aren't disrespecting you left and right. You may have like a bad apple here and there, but for the most part, you don't go through like that level of intense disrespect that a lot of these dudes get, right? And so I had to analyze, and I realized that life, there are hierarchies regardless. Like, I don't like using the word, but this is the word that you'll understand. There will be alpha males and there will be beta males. There will always be that. In the animal kingdom, there are alpha males and there are beta males. You just have to understand what that means and if that applies to you or not. I think either or is fine. You have to accept your role in society and play to it at the best of your ability. Play to the strengths of that role, right? Like with the beta male, you're like, what are the strengths of a beta male? It's like, well, you don't necessarily have the responsibility to lead a lot of people. You're almost like you're solo, you're on your own. Like, you're very agreeable for sure. But if you follow the right structure, if you follow the right leader, then you can be led in the right direction, right? The burden of leadership is not on you. People are like, well, all men should be leaders. No, there are men who should lead other men, right? So not all men should be leaders. All men should be led in a better direction potentially, or all men should have a vision where they lead other people. Not all men are blessed with a vision to be able to lead other people. So you have to understand that there are nuances to this concept of alpha male versus beta male. You look at the animal kingdom, like in the gorilla, like when you look at a gorilla like area or like a place, you see that the gorilla, there's one alpha male and the rest are like around that alpha male, right? And he gets a majority of the resources. it's kind of like real life where you have to know if that's who you are or not. And a lot of these people that are preaching alpha male, and that's the thing, if you have to say that you're an alpha male, you're not. That's a fact. If it's self-prescribed, if it's something that you have to broadcast to the world that that's who you are, I'm an alpha male, I'm this, I'm that, you're not. And the reason why is because a person who is that already knows that. And sometimes they don't even know it, but other people already like prescribe that to them. They don't need to prescribe it to themselves. They don't need to make it a big broadcast like, oh, I'm an alpha male, this, I'm this, I'm this. No, they already know what they are. So it doesn't make sense. Like I look around and I'm like, all these guys are puffing up their chest. And the crazy part is you can see how they've transformed over time. And I'm not saying that there's no possible chance that you can ever be an alpha male, but like, you have to understand where you're at innately. Like, what are you actually like wanting to be? Like, who do you actually want to be? Some of these people that I see, they're forcing themselves to be this like hyper masculine alpha male type, but in reality, they really just want to just chill and not have to have the burden of leadership and just, you know, live a normal, comfortable life, which there's nothing wrong with that. You know, these people that are trying to push to be these big time entrepreneurs, and it's like, oh, you don't need to, if that's not innately in you, don't try to ram it into yourself because you think that that's what the norm is and that's how you conform with people who you look up to. The goal is not to conform, the goal is to differentiate yourself, right? Like, I don't care about this whole alpha male, hyper, you need to be masculine. Like, I might make videos on that because that's what people understand, but the whole goal is not to make you a quote unquote alpha male, it's to make you to be as original as possible, to be yourself and to be comfortable in your own skin. The problem with a lot of these alpha male influencers, they're not comfortable in their own skin. You can tell by how they talk. You can tell by how they carry themselves. You can tell by how they talk about women. You can tell by how they demean other people, by how they have emotional lash outs. Like, all of these things happen because they are not who they actually are. They put on a mask. What they're teaching you, what these alpha male influencers are teaching you, is how to put on a mask, because they're all dorks. In real life, they've all been dorks, but they've convinced themselves that they're like this image, but at the end of the day, it's just an image. It's just a mask. It's not reality, and that's okay, right? What's not okay is they're teaching you to put on a mask as well. They're teaching you to be somebody that you're inherently not, and you're inherently not comfortable being, right? It's not something that you actually want to be. Because if it was somebody that you actually were, innately, like for me, innately, I naturally am a leader. I've naturally led everywhere that I've been. I've never really been like a follower. I've always been somebody that people like look up to listen to, right? I've never really been agreeable. My whole life, I've never been agreeable. Like, there are things that occur that you already have that these people are talking about, and you're like, I never had to like read a book about this. I never had to, you know, go to an alpha male seminar and start yelling and beating my chest and making myself seem like I'm bigger than I am. I never had to go fake it. I like cigars. I love cigars. That's like one of my favorite things. I didn't do it because I watched Andrew Tate. Smoking cigars before that, you know? But now you see a lot of these kids, they want to have the portrayal of being an alpha male, so they go and they smoke these cigars, or like they go and they have this mean face. They might shave their hair bald because they see Andrew Tate. That's actually beta male behavior, if you think about it, because you're following somebody. You don't have your own opinions. You don't have your own set of values. You're following someone else, T for T, and you're calling yourself an alpha male. And then you get mad when that person switches up, because every human being doesn't stick to their ideals forever. Their life changes. People change. So if you're getting upset at somebody changing their opinion or changing their viewpoint because you wanted to follow them to the T, and now you feel like they're sabotaging because you have this weird parasocial relationship with them. I see it with Hamza's community as well. You see all these incels, all these boys that are following him T for T. They're listening to every little thing he say, not for like insight, not for like better understanding and understanding his perspective, but like literally as a prescription to put a bandage on their own problems. And then they get mad when he switches character, or he does something else, or he gets interested in something else and he talks about other things. That weird parasocial relationship, which is good for YouTube, you still have to, and I want you to understand this, because you're obviously either subscribed to me or you're watching this video because you're interested in me. I'm me, you're you. I want you to take everything that I say with a big grain of salt, use it if it applies to your life, twist it for your own experiences, go leverage it, see how it works. But don't take everything that I say bar for bar and think that that's going to be the prescription to your problem, because it's not. You have a unique problem. You have a unique history that leads up to that problem, and you have a unique solution that you need, right? So, and all of that is experience. People who, you can start off as quote unquote a beta male and then transition into a quote unquote alpha male. The only way that you can ever do that is through experience. You have to live through experiences to be able to get you to that point. You're not gonna go watch a course and become a quote unquote alpha male. You're not gonna go and watch your favorite YouTuber, alpha male influencer, and assume that that's what you're gonna become, alpha male. That's not how that works. Like, you actually have to go through experiences that allow for you to develop the perspective to become that. Develop the actual like being of that quote unquote alpha. I literally hate this word because people are just using it. Oh, he's not alpha. He's not alpha because he's a simp. Like, what? Because I like to please the woman that I'm with. I'm a simp. I buy her flowers. I'm a simp. Do you even know what simp really means? Like, all a simp is somebody who basically gives a lot more than they get, and the relationship that they have with the woman is not equivalent. It doesn't have equilibrium. So you see all of these different things and you're like, oh, this person's this person's that. It's like, no, everybody has a unique situation. Everybody has a unique perspective to where their life is. There's never like an extreme of either or. You can be a little bit of one or the other. It just depends on who you are. And you have to accept who you are. A lot of you don't want to accept who you are and like really walk in that, right? And make changes as you build experiences. But for the present moment, you're not going to just become this alpha male if you've been this submissive person your whole life, or you've been like, if that's who you are, go find someone who's a leader and go learn from them. Go be led by someone who's a genuine leader. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's always hierarchies in all societies. If you're somebody who has a strong vision, who can articulate, who can capture attention, become a leader. You're a leader by nature. That's who you are. But for these people who have been platformed and don't even have leadership capabilities because they lash out on camera, they demean women, they demean people, all of these people, you can tell, you're like, you're not supposed to be there. You're not, or if you are supposed to be there, you're supposed to be there to be a lesson to other people. And so you see all of this and you realize, like, okay, there's a facade here. This is a trend. This trend is it's not going to die, but it's going to evolve. There's a new breed of people coming in that are changing the game on this. Very authentic people, right? That's kind of where I place myself, just an authentic person. I'm telling you my experiences, my actual thoughts on things, whether they align with one ideology or the other. I don't have a specific ideology or a specific camp that I sit on. And I think, again, that's what a real quote unquote alpha male is somebody who has their own ideals. They have their own like perspective, and they're not wavered. They're not looking to go join a specific echo chamber anywhere, whether it be religion, whether it be, whatever that looks like. You know what I mean? Alpha male versus beta male. Like, no, I'm just a male. Like, I have my own personalities. You know, I'm a very dominant person. I have my own capabilities, and that's just what it is. And that's how you got to be. You have to be really honest with yourself and figure out why you are who you are, and figure out what are the advantages of who you are. Because once you start trying to change and start trying to like become somebody else, you come off as fake and people just don't even want to talk to you anymore because you're not authentic. You're not you. The minute you become your full you version of yourself and you just max it out, just max out all of the things that you can control, your health, your money, like your social skills, your charisma, you can actually change these things. And by the way, these things don't make you a quote unquote alpha male or beta male. They just make you a better version of yourself. That's the whole goal. Like, this characteristic of who's who, it's because these people who grew up as incels, who grew up as people who were lower on the hierarchy of their specific area, they looked up and they were envious of the person who was at the top. They're like, I want to be that. I want to be top dog. I want to be that leader. And so they went on this crazy, like, forceful transformation only to just put a bandage over like a surface level pain or a deeper than surface level pain that they had. And now you see them acting out. Now you see them getting out of character sometimes. Now you see them you see that it's all a front. You see who they really are. You see that they have this inner child, this inner immature child that has never been taken away, right? Has never been actually destroyed. And you see that consistently and you wonder, man, why are they acting like this? Aren't they supposed to be an alpha male? No, they're giving you an illusion. They're giving you something to basically look up to. It's all an illusion. A lot of these people are not who they are. They just do this because that's what goes well with social media right now. It is a trend. I guarantee you if it was a trend to be a beta male, there would be tons of that. Right now it's a trend to be an alpha male because they're seen as the most successful people. I've seen the most successful people and some of them don't even act like that. Some of them are quote unquote beta males, but they're happy with their life. They're happy with their successes. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just who they are. They may not be leaders. They were working at a 9-to-5 in an organization and they got a bunch of stock and they cashed out. Now they're rich. Now they have a beautiful wife and they do all this. Like, there are different parts of life. That's the whole point around this. I don't believe that all men need to have the same track. That's weird. You have different tracks, but you need to be able to maximize on your current abilities as well as just the things that you have control over. You don't really have control over whether you have a bigger vision for the world or not. Some people are just born with that. Some people are just visionaries and they can lead other people towards a vision. There's some people that are really good at finding somebody with a vision so that they can follow that person so they can ride the coattails with that person. There's nothing wrong with that either. Everybody thinks that, oh, every person needs to be a successful business owner, has to start a company. Like, no, then we wouldn't have employees. And so then how would you then start a business? Yeah, maybe AI, we can talk about that, but it's the same. How are you gonna be an alpha male without beta males? You can't. If everybody's an alpha male, that doesn't make sense. There is no alpha male. It's the same in the animal kingdom. There's always an alpha person, an alpha male, and then there are beta males that follow them, that do what they instruct for them to do, that follow them on the vision that they have, that respect them. That's what makes you an alpha male. The respect, the loyalty, the people wanting to follow your vision. That's all it is. And I don't like those terms either. You're just a man. Like you're a man in your own right. You're a visionary. I like the term visionary. Visionaries, that's essentially what it is. They're very disagreeable people. You know, they're always energetic because they have this vision that they want to accomplish. Like, that's really what it is. And so I just wanted to tell the truth about what this really is right now. It's social media. It's a game. It's a trend. It's something that men want to ride on. They have this aesthetic, this alpha male aesthetic that they're pushing with the supercars. I like cars. I get it. But I'm not going to go buy a car just so people think that I'm an alpha male. I buy a car because I like the car. I smoke cigars because I like cigars. I'm not smoking cigars, coughing, and I don't like this, but I want to be perceived as this alpha male at 17 years old. These kids are crazy, man. I'm 27, by the way. I just turned 27 like a few days ago. But it's just crazy to see this. Anyway, I hope that you kind of learned a little bit from this video and you start to look at a lot of these figures differently and you realize that none of them are who they say they are. They're putting on a persona for the internet. They may have developed into that over time, but you have to be your own person. You have to develop at the time that makes sense for you. So if you appreciated this video, comment, like, subscribe, join the newsletter below, schedule a call with me if you want to talk more about fitness. I like to do that. I like to get men in shape. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'm here as well. But yeah, I appreciate you and I'm gonna catch you on the next video.